What's up, guys? Max here, and this is Making a Sailor, Episode 3. All right, I hope you guys have been enjoying this series so far. Here comes Episode 3. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, and turn those notifications on, and, drop me a comment if you want to, because I would love to see what you're thinking. I have been so far greatly enjoying watching these dudes and gals go through boot camp. It's been fun. It's bringing me back a lot of good memories, fond memories. When I look back on boot camp, I only have positive memories, even though the whole thing was kind of a blur and I was really sick the whole time. I think I got sick in P days, which was like the first 5 days you were there, and then I was sick until graduation day, basically, which sucked. They called me Outbreak, I believe, if I remember correctly, which was well earned by me because I was super sick. Okay, so these guys have been going through P days. Let's see where they're at, and let's together enjoy Episode 3.
Sit up straight, eyes on me. I'm Petty Officer Sperry. I will be your lead RDC. Petty Officer 10.
All right, right off the bat, let me tell you something before this goes any further. It looks like they might be in their actual division berthing, where they'll spend the rest of their 9 weeks at Great Lakes. Before anybody ever came in and yelled at us in our actual berthing, before anything, because, you go through P days, then you get your division, then you go to your division barracks. Before anybody ever came in and yelled at us, a chaplain came in, a religious chaplain in the military is a non-denominational religious figure who gives non-denominational services and specific services. And you can go always in boot camp. You always had the right to go on Sunday to church and or to whatever religious service was your choice. And so he comes in, he tells us, hey, I went in May. I got there in May. He's like, you guys are just going through summer camp. It's no big deal. Have a good time. It was like people were laughing. It was kind of chill. And then he left, and one of our RDCs comes in, and they're like, okay, we have to show you all the different PT moves that you're going to do. Does anybody want to volunteer? And I raised my hand and I volunteered. And I go up to the front and they're like, okay, here's how you do 8-count bodybuilders. And I did like 28-count bodybuilders. And like, okay, now we're going to do sit-ups. And I do like 20 sit-ups. And then here's how we do dirty dogs. And then I do like 20 dirty dogs. And before I realized I was getting the first PT session of boot camp because I volunteered. So that was my fault. But just so you know, there's like a little bit of a gap that we're missing a little bit of a gap here in between. Unless it's changed, we're missing a little bit of a gap here between last episode and here. So to fill in that gap, there you go. And let's get back to it.
Will be your second RDC. Petty Officer Gonzalez will be your third RDC. Together, we have 8 weeks to transform you into United States sailors.
You are no longer a civilian. Whatever you were before is now over. You are about to begin a journey that's going to make you a part of the greatest naval force the world has ever known. This training will not be easy. It wasn't meant to be. You will not be coddled nor disrespected, but you will be held to a high standard. Our job as your RDCs is to turn you into basically trained sailors. Your job as recruits is to do what you're told and give us 100% motivation.
You'll all be treated the same, no matter your sex, cultural background, religion, or sexual orientation.
There are no individuals in the military. We're many, but we operate as one unit. For this team to be successful, you have to work together.
You better keep those eyes
If you fail,
forward.
the team fails. Get on your feet. Get up.
Let's go. Let's go.
My name's Petty Officer Sperry.
So one thing I noticed right off the bat is they don't have a chief in their division, which is interesting. I would have thought they would have. They have 3 petty officers, no chief. There's got to be a chief around there somewhere, I'm sure of that, but they don't have to seem to have one showing up to be one of their RDCs. In my boot camp division, we had 2 petty officer first classes and a chief, and then one of our petty officers had to leave and go to another division near the end of boot camp, so he got replaced by, I think, a second class. And but he ended up walking with us at graduation, which was cool. We were really excited about that. His name was Petty Officer Thatcher. So that was really cool. That was fun. he was a cool dude. He's the only one in my boot camp that I never saw again after boot camp. We never crossed paths. Something else is the female RDC had said that they were going to turn them into basically trained sailors. What does that mean? So basically, seamanship, firefighting, first aid, military bearing, discipline, general orders, naval history. Those are your basic sailor skills. Galley, how to eat at the galley, how to pack a sea bag, how to fold your clothes, how to use the rack, how to use the head, take quick showers, shave, brush your teeth. Those are your basic sailor skills. There's nothing very technical in boot camp at all. Maybe the most technical thing is like one knot tying class or something, but it's pretty basic stuff. So, okay, let's get back to it.
I'm a recruit division commander at Recruit Training Command. All divisions start off basically the same. They're very scared. They don't know what they're supposed to expect during their 8-week training.
Turn your head!
Oh man, forget trying to count in order. 1, 2, 8. What? Why? Why can't we get through this? Either standing in a height line or counting in order. Just stand by.
It's easy. Say your number.
51,
52,
53.
No,
There you go.
as you are.
There you go.
Stop.
Pay attention to what
Turn your head and say your number.
59, 60, 61,
As you are.
63.
Pay
Wait for the
attention.
person in front of you to turn their freaking head so you can say your number and then you go after them. Do you
I'm
understand?
Chief Petty Officer Stegall. I'm a recruit division commander here at Recruit Training Command Great Lakes. Processing days, that's where you're issued all your initial issue, DITY issue. They have their basic medical indoctrination, so they get a series of shots.
So
Shots. Okay. You guys have probably heard all about the shots. You've probably heard about the peanut butter shot, all that. It's all true. Only thing that I see different here from my experience, you basically walk down a shots assembly line. You just walk down, you get shots, left and right arm. You walk to the next person, they give you some shots. Everyone gets them on the same day. The only thing that's different here is when I went through, they had this like air gun thing. They put up this air gun. They pull the trigger, like shoots the liquid in like a beam into your arm. I don't know if I just butchered that entirely on what that is, but I don't see them using that. I don't know if they got rid of it, but it was a little bit different. But yeah, you walk up, you pull your pants down, you get that peanut butter shot. It hurts pretty good, but you know, you get it, and then it feels like somebody just put a lump of peanut butter into your butt cheek, and then when you walk around, it's like you got a Charlie horse. It's not too bad. It lasts about a day. No big deal. Too easy. You're not getting nothing too physical is happening in P days, so you should be fine.
during that week, you get a lot of shots. You get kind of everything you need to continue the rest of your training. The shots were not fun.
Age averages 21. See that?
We got dental work done, which we just finished today.
It was a long process.
Everything that you do is with a purpose.
So it looks like they have a chief in their division now who's going to be like their overall main chief for probably both of those divisions, the male and female one. The dental, so you get your wisdom teeth pulled out in boot camp, and never until right now did I think how hard dentists must be working at Great Lakes to get every recruit in there and have their wisdom teeth pulled out. That's like 4 teeth per person, 100 people per divisions, you know, a dozen divisions constantly throughout the year. That's a lot of wisdom teeth. That's a lot of work. So you get your wisdom teeth pulled, and then you're kind of on, like, if you do get your wisdom teeth pulled, you might be on bed rest for a day or something like that with some pain pills. My wisdom teeth story is kind of funny. Maybe I'll save it for another time. I ended up getting my wisdom teeth pulled at the end of boot camp by chance. So we'll see if they talk about wisdom teeth at all. But be ready. If you still have your wisdom teeth when you go to boot camp, you're going to get those pulled out.
Do it to the best of your ability.
We want to give them a shock, and we let them know that, you know, you haven't even started training yet. You haven't even begun to experience exactly what we're about to subject you to.
And then you start teaching them the very basics, how to stand at attention, how to salute, how to do facing movements, left face, right face, about face.
Learning how to
I'm just watching here, and it brings back memories of the insane amount of people who would turn the wrong direction, say right face, and then they would turn left, about face, and they would just not do anything. They would panic. I see people like right now they're not uniform at all. If I look down the line here, they're all in different positions. They're all in different points of the turn. It should all be exactly simultaneously. Everyone's in brown shirt except for one guy down there in a yellow shirt. It's just chaos right now. So you might think you know how to turn right and left, but when the pressure's turned up, you might be surprised. Let's go.
Old things, learning how to do things correctly.
I gave you 15 minutes
45s. Get those 45s.
to shave and brush your teeth. We are going on 25 minutes. This is unset. Let's go!
The first few days of boot camp, that's when recruits don't really know what to expect. So when you start yelling at them,
You understand?
Yes, Petty Officer.
You're here to get better, not to stand freaking lazy. You understand?
Yes, Petty Officer.
Then don't stand like that. I shouldn't be repeating myself when I already trained.
some people really have a negative effect to that, and they don't like being talked to like that. And then some of them understand the process and understand that that's us being on them 100% all the time is what's going to make them a better sailor in the end.
You know, I don't, everything they do, I don't take it personal because I realize they are training me to be a sailor.
It's a lot of tough love. And it's like, I know that they want us to succeed again. I know that they want us to do well. You know, they've all been through this themselves. They have gone through a lot.
A second ago, the chief was like, look at my collar device, look at my shoulder, and then know who I am. In boot camp, you're always trying to look straight ahead. You don't want to make eye contact with anybody. You don't want to break your kind of military bearing. So sometimes you don't see the rank of the person that's talking to you, and you'll take a guess. You're like, yes, senior chief. And they're like, do I look like a senior chief? And then you're like, I don't know. I didn't even see. And then you just get screamed at for that. It's happened to me a bunch of times. When I was in boot camp, I was on what was called ship staff, which means I would stand watch. Everyone's standing watch throughout boot camp, sometimes in the barracks, sometimes at like the door to the building. So there was like 6 of us that were ship staff. Some people get other duties like master at arms or male PO or something like that. But I was at the front door of the building of our ship. So like the quarterdeck of the ship. So anybody coming in to go to any division would come through us, and we would, stand there at attention, and people would come in and we would say, good morning, chief, good morning, petty officer, good morning, sir, good morning, man, whatever it is. And a lot of times, like the chief and officers' uniforms get confusing because they look the same basically, except for the rank. And once they take their cover off, you don't want to look down at their shoulder or at their chest or whatever to see what their rank is. So you might see the wrong thing and then you just get screamed at. It happened to me a bunch of times on ship staff with high-ranking people. Well, like when you're in boot camp, like a lieutenant's like a really high-ranking person, but that's a junior officer in the Navy. So you might see a lieutenant, you're like, oh my God, it's a lieutenant, I'm freaking out. But you learn after you get out of boot camp, after a couple of years, it's really not something to stress about to interact with an officer or whatever. But as long as you have military bearing. Anyway, don't listen to me right now. You're going to be in boot camp, so it's going to be fucking a different story. Here we go.
Training themselves to be RDCs. So trying to just remember that and give them that equal amount of respect really helps me get through it.
They've been good. Like they only really, again, if you're doing the right thing, they're not going to be yelling at you.
55, 56,
the raincoats on.
58,
Then why are you here? You're 230. Get across the freaking hall.
all right, 68.
That guy was in the wrong line. Apparently, there's a saying in boot camp and in the Navy, if you're wrong, stay wrong. So, like, if you've already messed up and you're in the wrong spot or your uniform's wrong, you're at attention, whatever, don't move. So he must have known that, and he must have had that on his mind and was just waiting to get an opportunity to, like, announce that he was wrong or get discovered or whatever. And that's the worst feeling, is when you know you already have messed up and you're just waiting for them to find out. So that was bad for him. All right, here we go.
We have to yell at them a lot and get them to understand that we need them not just to react to what we're saying, but to react fast.
We're going to make it uncomfortable for them. We're going to make it so that they are able to, one, have confidence in themselves and their abilities, but also be able to deal with the stress. And so that's why we create a stressful environment. That's why we keep the temp up.
What did your RDCs tell you about failure? If you fail, who fails? The whole team.
Your initial PFA is tomorrow.
Like, look at this person in the background. That's the perfect example of if you're wrong, stay wrong. They have their sweatshirt halfway on their head, and they're just standing there like that because they were told to go at attention. He must have been doing something weird because he's the only one with the sweatshirt on. and he must have been too slow or too fast or confused or something, and now he's just stuck standing there. So if you're wrong, stay wrong. He's doing a good job staying wrong. Too funny.
You need to understand that if you fail, you will get set back.
So tomorrow's going to be a reality check for the recruits. It's going to be their baseline PFA, where they're going to be required to run 1.5 miles, do a number amount of sit-ups and push-ups. Some won't make it, so someone's going to go home.
I wanted to pass out and just die. Like, give me a gallon of water, let me drink it. So we were all really stressed about who was going to pass and who wasn't going to pass.
Let's go, Jones. Let's go. Get up there. Come on. Don't think about it. Let's go. Come on. 5 more. 5 more. Give me 5 more.
I happily that I wasn't able to pass it. I'm glad. So hopefully I can pass the next one with a better score. With the PFA, I knew I was ready. I was ready for it before coming to boot camp, but the day before I got really, really sick. Still, I felt sick during the PFA, but I just pushed because I didn't want to get separated.
And so that PFA baseline is just that, it's the baseline. It's not even the actual PFA standard. And if they can't meet the baseline, then they probably need to go find something else to do.
There's should be no surprise when you get to boot camp that you have to take a PFA test, a physical fitness test. I mean, you knew that was coming. If you get to boot camp and you can't pass just the in-doc test, which you don't even have to do well on, I think you get like 15 minutes to run 1.5 miles and 20 push-ups and 30 sit-ups or something like that. Man, what are you doing? Like, you were really let down by your delayed entry program for one, but then you really let yourself down too, because you're really responsible for your own fate. Nobody else is responsible for your well-being except for you. So you need to take that seriously and show up prepared, because if you get sent home for that, it's going to be really bad for your life, really bad for your career, really embarrassing, not good for your family and friends, not honorable. So just show up prepared, man. Too easy. Held back. Yep. You don't want to be there any longer than you have to.
I don't give a crap if you're tired, if you think the sea bag's too heavy. You came here to serve, so own up and do it.
Week 1 of actual boot camp, they can expect to be staying up late, long hours, working at a fast pace. They're going to be expected to pass their swim qualification. They're going to be expected to march as a unit. And those are all things that we're training them from the beginning in P-Days. They're going to have to bring it together week 1 and make sure they're performing all those tasks. So in P-Days, we are loud and we are aggressive with them, but we are instructors at first. We're teaching them everything, and we take our time, because come week 1, then it's not, we don't have time to train every little thing over and over again. They need to learn it. So when we're telling them at first they need to pick stuff up and this is how it has to be done, come week 1, we expect that to happen. So when they start failing during week 1, then they're actually held accountable for their actions.
So it looks like they might still be in P-Days. P-Days looks a little bit different than what I remember, because I thought just the first 3 days that I was in boot camp, 3 to 5 days, like P1 through P5 was P-Days, but maybe that's changed a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't know how long they've been there, actually. It's a little unclear. Like, that could be their second day there. They skipped a lot of stuff. Like, if they're still in P-Days, then like in the first 24 hours, you do a urinalysis, where I remember walking around circles in the room because I couldn't pee. So you like walk around in a circle, and every time you get to the water fountain, you take a drink until you finally go, and then you go, and then you have to pee all night. I remember having to hold my pee that night so bad in my bed, in my rack, because you weren't supposed to get out of your rack. Eventually, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I got up and I went, which I think you could have gone the whole time. But then there's the moment of truth, where they get you in a room and they say, if you lied on your medical records, if you lied about anything, now's the time to come forward and tell the truth, which you're not supposed to, lie about anything, but then you're not supposed to admit that you lied about anything, because then you get kicked out, which is really bad. So if you've already made it to boot camp and the moment of truth comes up, just keep your mouth shut, but they keep you up for like 2 days beforehand. So you're very fatigued and more likely to make a bad decision. So like maybe you have thought like, oh man, when I was in 3rd grade, I got in-school suspension. I didn't tell them about that. I should tell them, don't do that. Like, use some apply some common sense, and remember that they're just trying to get you at that point. So as long as you were forthright when you joined the Navy, there should be nothing to worry about in the moment of truth. All right, let's see where this thing goes. I think we're almost done.
Anything that you were before you came here, you wave goodbye to that. That's gone. Because as long as people in this world want to take your life because of where you live, because of where you breathe, you must be ready. And if you're not ready, we don't need you.
I like that. Ends with a little bit of motivation from the Chief there. Good job. I enjoyed that. That was another good episode of Making a Sailor. I'm really enjoying this series. I hope you guys are too. If you are, make sure you hit that subscribe button, notifications on, drop a comment, like the video, whatever. Let me know what you're thinking about this series. Check out my website linked up above here or down in the description below to subscribe to the podcast. And let me know what your favorite episode is down there. We just did a bunch. We've got a bunch more coming out. They're going really well. I'm getting a lot of those out. So check out the podcast, which is the whole, fundamental base of this. The ScuttleButt Show is the podcast. And let me know what you want to see more of on this channel, and I will make sure to do more of it. So I will talk to you guys soon. Out for now. Bye.